trophies, prize money. I know what you're thinking. That's what makes the esports world go round. And most of the time you'd probably be right, except that today and for the next 4 days, things are a little bit different here. Welcome to the PUBG Europe League promotional tournament. What does that mean, I hear you say? Well, good question. It means that we have 16 fantastic European teams here to fight it out in Berlin for just 4 spots. And those 4 spots are up for grabs. That's why it doesn't matter about the tournament winnings. It doesn't matter about a trophy. This is about far more for all 16 teams, 4 of which have already played in PUBG Europe League this season and now have to fight for survival. And the other 12, well, they've been fraught themselves. They've had to fight their way through contenders and now find themselves just 4 days and 20 rounds away from playing in PUBG Europe League 2020. Who are those teams? Let's find out.
We are here. To start a fire.
Щоб знищити ворога.
To make a difference.
Помериться силами.
Доказать нашу решимость.
We are walking tall.
There's no stopping us.
We will fight for honor.
For glory.
За братство. For revenge. Для моментов триумфа.
And moments of truth.
Но прежде всего,
We will fight for you.
Your introduction to the teams that are going to be facing off over the next 4 days. It is PEL Promotion Week. My name is Tickle, and joining me on the desk, Frost and Avenger are here. This is possibly the most exciting part of PEL for me, is watching these teams either have to come down and battle it out to get back into the PEL, or for the contenders teams to make their way through. Let's get straight into it though, gents. These contenders teams that are here, the top 12 teams, who are the ones that you think could potentially steal those PEL spots?
I mean, that's a big question to start off with, I'd say. I feel like we're going to have 1 or 2 teams going back from PEL to drop down, and those 2 teams that I think is either ENCE or GamerLegion.
Yeah, both. I agree. I think we're most likely going to see 1 or 2 teams. I think 2 of the teams are going to lose their spot. We have some very hungry contender teams here. And obviously, they've been playing together for a long time. They know each other really well. So I think it's going to be kind of a curveball for the PEL teams playing against these 12 new teams. It's going to be kind of some traps set up. We're going to see some kind of very different play styles compared to what we've been used to in PEL. But let's take a look at the teams here, guys.
So these are your contenders teams who are going to be fighting it out. Unity, I was on this desk when we did promotions for Phase 3, and Unity had come down. Is this their chance to get back into the league? They know what they're missing out on?
I mean, there's been a little bit of changes in the lineup for Unity, and I feel like this is a very strong lineup they have right now. The thing is, are they going to be able to prevail here? I think with the addition of Onactive, really good experienced player, it's going to be a possibility, a big possibility.
We've seen Orange Snow be able to frag out as well from that team. He has the experience. I think they're going to come in with a kind of a very calm play style and take some really good decisions throughout the matches. I'm not too worried about those guys. I wouldn't put them in my top 4 predictions, or I don't want to say predictions, but more kind of the expectations we have to some of these teams. For me, like, yes, the contenders teams, they are slightly advantageous compared to the PEL teams because they athlete against each other. But there are some teams here that have some insane raw skill, some really, really good experience, and like the performance they've shown in the contenders, PGA team, for example, these guys, like paired with the drop spots they have gotten for this relegation tournament or promo tournament, it's just insane.
Yeah, we're talking Pachinki, Bootcamp, and Impala. I mean, that's really big places. At the same time, I feel like it's so much pressure on the Contenders team being here. This is their chance to get into PL, and it's super important. You want to get into PL for the Phase 1 of 2020 because we don't really know yet what the goal points are going to look like, but you don't want to miss out on anything.
Exactly. As you saw here, we had 30% of our Phase 2 points and 70% of our Phase 3 points. So, as Frost said, for PGC next year, there might be some Phase 1 points that's going to count for the 2020 season. So, you really want to start getting in there if you want to have a chance to go to PGC.
Now, as exciting as it is for the Contenders teams, though, on the other side, you've got these 4 teams who, not that exciting for them. For them, they're now fighting. They know what it tastes like to be in PEL. ENCE, Phase 1 winners for 2019. Now they're in promotions. They could potentially lose their spot. They've got to be feeling a lot of pressure.
Well, we talked a lot about ENCE during the league itself, during the phases, and we've seen them drop down, as you're saying, Phase 1 winner, and then it just went downhill. Now, this might be their chance to actually grab it and make sure that they get the positive mentality they need to get back up. If they can be able to frag out here, they might get the confidence that they need.
I had the pleasure of talking with them just before the games here started, and they're changing 2 of their drop spots on 2 of the maps. So they're changing on Erangel, they're changing on Sanak, it looks like, and from what I talked with SKUIJKE about, looks like they're going to be on contest in those areas. And if they manage to get South George on Erangel, which I think they're going to be, then it's looking very good for those guys compared to how rough they've had when they on their old drop spot up and around Sarki.
Definitely, this is something they should have done long ago, in my opinion. I mean, those drop spots, sure, they got Phase 1, they won that with those drops, but at the same time, it didn't work out Phase 2, it didn't work out Phase 3, but nothing happened. It kept on playing the same game, and it was just a down spiral for them.
Do the PEL teams have an advantage? I mean, they've been living here in Berlin. They play on LAN every week. They've got their houses. They settled the Contenders guys for them. Some of them, they don't play on LAN as much, so they've got to come here. It's very exciting. They've got to stay in a hotel. They're out of their familiar surroundings. Do you think any of that's going to play a role?
Definitely.
From that standpoint, honestly, I think them having been here, having played this many games, already having, you know, the confidence of being here, they're calm. They're not going to have the land jitters as much as the other guys. They're used to the setup, they're used to the screens, they're used to the performance, they're used to this ability. Playing on LAN is just a whole other level. It's so much smoother for them. They're gonna be, for me, they're gonna have that advantage from the beginning. But the pressure for them to not re-qualify for PEL is very high as well.
And another thing to take away is that the comfortability, like you're comfortable being here. You know exactly everything around you. We're not talking about here. We're talking about outside here. Later for tonight, what you're gonna do, what they did yesterday. They know exactly what they wanna eat, where they wanna eat. They know their beds. They know they're not staying at a hotel. They know all the surroundings. They're pretty comfortable just living here.
They are comfortable, so that might work in their favor. Let's take a look at your schedule now. As you can see, we've got 5 games every single day for the next 4 days. It sounds like a lot, but actually, in reality, it's not enough to potentially lose your spots or gain a spot in the PEL. So the teams are going to be feeling that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, sure, we have 20 games, but at the same time, it's also 3 different maps. And you got to consider that. You can't just do good on 1 map. You got to do good on at least 2 maps, and you want to do decent on at least 3 maps to be able to make it to PEL.
It's got to be quite exciting for these Contenders teams, though, getting their bums comfy in those DX Racer chairs. All the pros in PEL are sitting in them. Now they get to sit in them as well. If you have any questions for our desk, that's going to be the next thing. You get to jump in and ask our boys anything you want. All you need to do is tweet with the hashtag AskPEL. I'm going to ask you something now. How do you think this first game is going to go? A little bit chaotic, trying to get used to everyone's playstyles?
So for the Contenders teams, they pretty much know each other. They've been playing a lot against each other already. They know their playstyles, where they're going to rotate, where they're going to go and stuff like that. It's going to be hard for the PEL teams. They're going to need to adjust, and they're going to need to adjust fast.
And also, like, we're going to have these 4 days here. The meta is going to change from day to day as well. So first of all, these guys that are going to come hard and fast out of the gate, they're going to have some quick rotations. If they manage to get kind of an advantage, get on top of the point, get a little bit of a lead with the points, if they manage to get that, they're going to be feeling so much more comfortable going into day 2 and 3, and they're just going to like snowball. So if you manage to get a snowball started, like throw it over the mountain here, get it started a little bit on day 1, you're going to be looking very, very good for the last of the days here.
PG18, one of the top contenders in my opinion. You saw DS there pumping up the other guys on the team there. I feel like they want to get into PL really bad.
I think all of the teams here
Everyone
want
wants to get into PL.
Everyone's
Come on,
getting-
this is what we're fighting for,
That's
those
true,
4
but
spots.
I mean, that team
I think
got
what you
big
meant,
potential.
I think what you meant is also there's a high chance that these guys are going to make
Yeah.
it. They have top drop spots. They are fantastic players. They're looking at, for me, as one of the most furious contenders here to make sure that they get into PL for 2020.
Do you think that for some of these, I mean, we've joking there, but everyone wants to get into PEL, but realistically, there are probably some teams in this lineup. They're here, they're going to give it their all, but they're aware that maybe they're not quite ready yet. Do you think that that's also sitting in the back of their minds where they're like, this is cool, I get to play with ENCE, they were Phase 1 winners, we get to play with GamerLegion, this is going to be a great experience for us?
No, it's all about we're better than them. We're better than all the other teams here, and that's what they're here to prove. They're here to prove we're better, not just better than all the teams here, but better than the PL teams as well. And this is the first step of showing us that.
Are you ready? This is it. By the end of this week, we will know who our next 4 teams for the PEL are. We're about to jump into the first game. D-Man and Pansy are going to be your shoutcasters. Let's get into it.
Thank you very much. Here we go. You can see the plane. It's looking nice and fancy. This is a new one, isn't it?
Got a new plane.
We've got a new plane, Lauren.
Damn, look at that thing. Woo.
Where's he going to go? They're going into Miramar for game number 1. It is a 20-match run for tournament lives. 4 teams, that's all that's going to qualify. And Lauren, I got to be honest, I was coming into this tournament thinking, I'm underprepared, I'm not ready. We need Toby going on. He's been doing this, he's going to get him in quick, get him in quick. And then I started looking at all the names and looking at all the players and think, same old faces, same old places, and we'll see who can come out on top. Obviously, you know, coming through from the actual contenders themselves, PG18, big favourites, a lot of names in there that you'll recognise. Obviously, Deez, Rikrent, former Navi man, Wanderer from former, what were they called, M18? That's the word I'm after. I mean, across, if you've covered PUBG probably for the last year and a half, you will have run across every single name in this lobby.
Yeah, it's not like we're seeing people who have never competed at least a competitive higher level. Some of them have broken through further, for sure. But again, the contenders, I think, are very much living up to that name. They truly are contenders here in this. And I'm expecting big things from some of these names because this is do or die time, right? It's the best of 20 kind of situation where you've got to be on point. So first circle hits, slap bang in between Tornado NG currently and Northern Lights. So looking at this, it's not that bad. It's kind of anyone's game here. We know the often, I guess, movement, the common spots that come out from this. And I know the PEL teams will definitely know that. Now, what I'm curious about is how the contender teams approach circle positioning, because I've spoken to, you know, the likes of GamerLegion and some of the boys who are here throughout PEL, and they said, well, in contenders, it's a little different. Some of the teams don't have that complete understanding or as frequent understanding as percentage circle position like that every team in the PEL will have. So I mean, it's a little bit of a different game there.
Yeah, exactly. If we saw this circle, it'd be like, yeah, that's going to be where the Knights are going to go, or not anymore, as the case may be.
Would have a nice approach
FaZe
to
would be going
it.
into this house, which is where I think didn't see what was down there. I know Northern Lights are in the Knights sort of spot. Didn't see who was over that side. We don't have the map at the moment, so we'll figure it out. Obviously, you've got you know, Picardo with Tornado, Tempest. Sorry, not Tornado Energy. Tornado
Similar
Energy
colours,
is on my
letter in
mind
there,
though, because they were coming into the promotions in Phase 2 as one of the favourites. They've slipped off a little bit since then. Obviously got some big hitters in there in the team, but Airstation Mike on your screen, you'll recognise a lot of these names. Obviously ToWzErA, Hugstar, and of course Jazza making a return to Berlin.
Good to see him back. Good to see him back. And I've got high expectations for these guys. Airstation Mike were one of the teams that obviously when you look at that roster, you're like, okay, that's a big roster, big names. Let's see how they deliver in these circumstances. I think looking at this, though, Power Grid is going to be kind of a hub, I feel, of action in this one. I think a lot of teams will hedge their bets towards that. But again, you guys at home, use that hashtag AskPEL, and also just tell us your thoughts on this. I want to know what you guys at home, because I know a lot of these viewers are coming over from contenders, and you've watched this, you know, day in, day out, week in, week out. Let us know your thoughts. You'll have this circle. We'll let you play, you know, have this map even. play this map out. Let us know your thoughts coming into this one, because again, you guys have your favorite teams, and we want to know more about them from your perspective. So already early rotations coming out here, it looks like.
Are we going to see Digital Athletics turn up? Are we going to see them? Oh, no.
Joker's giving us a laugh.
Oh, dear. This is not good. Anuctive straight in. Jazza comes around the side. Does manage to catch a decent amount in his back. Hugstar, I think he was, that did the damage. ToWzErA tries to get him around. Anuctive will go down. Not just before. Jazza was also knocked at the same time, but it will be the first kill. And Anuctive, well, the former man from Avantgarde many moons ago.
Oh, Jazza's trying to be safe. They're trying to body block with the car.
Block.
Really nice work driving in there, trying to pick him up. Orange did some damage from up above, using that high ground very well. But I hope we see more of this. There's not even sights on that Mini.
No scoped.
Damn, this guy's a beast. But still, we know Orange is pretty good. We know Unity's pretty good, but they've already lost out on one of their big name players, which is going to be rough. But I expect this. I want teams to come out and kind of make their stamp on this map. And if that's early battles, early rotations, fighting for, you know, for example, Power Grid, huge position. So Northern Lights get a really good start for that. But you've got to look beyond it. That is a very hard area to hold just by yourself, because you've got that low ground creep up towards that kind of pinnacle area.
Somewhat surprised to see Tempest going into that dip area there at the beginning. It's so easy to get caught out in the position and immediately see GamerLegion putting a couple of shots their way. bjorN's trying to flank around for position to see if he can keep them at bay. This is a standard spot that they like to take. So immediately trying to challenge them out. Obviously came out of the promos last phase. GamerLegion themselves.
Broke my heart, that ending for them.
Oh, I know. And like, I watched the playback. Toby went through the playback of it, and there was just so many things. Obviously, Menox was in chat as well, so it's great. So we had Raise Your Age's perspective. TSM obviously dropped on them. They thought it was GamerLegion dropping on them, because why wouldn't they, right? They were thinking we're being hot dropped by GamerLegion.
Makes some sort of sense, yeah.
Nobody knocked each other in that entire engagement.
It's wild, isn't it?
So they still were none the wiser, so they assumed it was GamerLegion. TSM obviously go off and, you know, FaZe and Team Liquid and TSM have their thing on the left. And GamerLegion, meanwhile, they're obviously up in the north trying to play it safe. And then who rolls in the back of them? Then bloody FaZe, FuzzFace hopping off a bike, taking two of them down. Then TSM come rolling in. Meanwhile, Raise Your Edge, obviously, in a fury that they think GamerLegion's dropped on them. They're looking at the kill feed and thinking, how's this happened? What's going on? What's happening here? And obviously pump them up so much. So that's why they see themselves in this situation. But someone who isn't a problem is obviously Orange Snow. ENCE, a name from the past. Obviously, quick mouth, the Finnish boys, with Digger next to him.
And, well, looking at Unity, it's been a rough ride so far. They've already had one engagement where they did get a knock, but they couldn't flush because that lovely recovery work that came in. Now Orange is off on an island with two players very nearby, and he's 100% heard these steps. But clearly, his gear, that loot, is not ideal. I don't think I saw a sight on either of his guns, because that Mini didn't have one, and neither has his M4.
Yeah, if it had one, he would have been using it, right, to shoot down the hill like he was to try and get the flush on Jazza, but it didn't work out. Aka Skills, the Danish boys, haven't seen them for a while. Last crew performing very well as well in the contenders. Here's a team we have seen. Two teams, I would say, with 7 and Digital Athletics in the distance. No surprise to see D8 got themselves a comfy compound. It's a 2-2, it looks like, for 7, though. Splitting out. Orange Snow finds one, and he's going to get the flush as well. And Dico, no! He's messed it up. Oh, that nade will confirm. ENCE might be able to get the knock on him before he throws it, but no, that's going to catch him. Dico's gone. Second man down.
Yeah, real scrappy stuff so far for these teams. It looks like Unity's just trying to take fights wherever they can. Run time for Orange. Get out of there. Reset. Jokers, I think Moon got knocked earlier by potentially either falling off a bike, something happened. It's PUBG. It can happen. So, not bad little nades coming through. And the engagement, again, this is very scrappy. We don't often see these earlier fights happening, but this seems to be the case. And willing to run up on this too. Last crew is taking this by force.
Yeah, Jokers are evacuating here. DeBoom, though, is out without a vehicle at the moment, so they may have been caught short. You can see he's been left in the building, so he has been abandoned by his team. He has got flank position. Sets found himself a really strong positioner. Great player from Phase 2, him and Tab. Really did very well. And you look at the obviously the Crow Crowd boys, a lot of the work was done from them guys. They got 6th place in PEL, but weren't able to attend. Obviously, the lineup's changed. And the Finns.
Oh, it's DeBoom getting out of there. How's he managed
How's nobody
this?
looking?
He has no idea how he's getting away with this one.
He's doing 360s, spinning around down the hill, thinking, I don't know how I got out of this, boys. I'm safe.
There we go. All right. Again, hopefully we can get our map stream up so we can have a little look at the overall positions here. soon enough. As it's going to be quite important looking at who's really vying for those center spots and where that circle moves towards.
Yeah, we're watching ENCE. Have they got it in them? The Phase 1 champions find themselves in the promotions. It is going to be such a hard battle for them because their form has just not been there since Phase 2, Phase 3, whatever changed, whatever happened after that Phase 1 delight. It really has not paid off for them. Where's the circle going to go? Are we going to swing over to the eastern side into standard position? Are we going to go north up towards the San Martin jostle? It is going to go that way.
Okay. So now my eyes turn towards that southern hill south of San Martin, that kind of rolling hillside. You do have Hacienda over there as well, very much available, and that's where people are shuffling towards, it looks like. That kind of, because it's quite tricky. This road is very divisive in the way that you have to be quite heavily committed either south or north of it. And a lot of these teams, I think, will look towards that hillside. It's a very common spot. Obviously, Liquid, for example, will fight for that tooth and nail, do those 1-1 split. Ooh. It's not gone well. And yeah, teams are going to have to just kind of now decide where they want to go. And it's going to be very defining towards the end game as to who did get those big pickup spots.
The old Death Valley that people are looking towards. So Jokers are trying to set themselves up down there at the moment with Tornado Energy on the hilltops. Is this still this is Storm, right? Is there still a battle out there as well? They got the Storm little sign on them anyway. There used to be 2 Tornado Energies back in the day. Set, that's not looking like a place he wants to drive in. He's just strolling straight into San Martin.
And the car's done him in. He's had a nightmare, hasn't he?
The car.
Oh dear, and I don't know how he's done that. Did the car fall on him? I think it looked like it was kind of tilted to one side.
We just saw the rest of them stopping in Death Valley. I don't understand what's going on with Jokers there. Like, was he trying to pre-scout for his team, or? I don't know. But like, sending it into the middle of San Martin at this stage is risky at best.
It is, and the thing is, well, seeing it from a player like Set, it's like, what's the plan there? Like, maybe it was a call, maybe there's method to the madness, but we don't understand it yet. I do expect some, jitters to a degree, because this is a huge moment. This could create a career for some of these players coming out to Berlin, for however long it may be, and playing this out week in, week out. This is a huge opportunity, so it does get nerve-wracking. This is off towards, I think, Hacienda there. You're just having a little bit of a close look. ENCE working their way in. And I want to see more from ENCE. This is getting beyond a joke that they're in this scenario after being such a strong, compelling team for so long. And, well, they just faded away. Tornado Energy, old Melman, another classic name that you guys certainly will be well aware of. Holding the hill for now. Jokers having a rough ride. Tab, Moon, and Boom all together. Looks like DA have found GamerLegion, and Fexx has been flushed, so that must have been out of the car. Maybe he pulled up to do a quick scout, but that's a big shot from SIXMO to instantly take away one of GamerLegion's players.
And it's well outside of any trouble at the moment, playing on the edge. It's the hot debate of how it works. Obviously, we've just had a couple of stats released recently about who gets the most circles. Team Liquid, it turned out to be the team in Europe that got the most, and that's based on the fact that they're always centered up. Them and DA were second, and we know what DA do, right? We know they're going to launch it for center, and no surprise they get the circles when they are in that position. Is this going to be one of those fabled launches for the center position that DA doing? Or are they going to play it safe and risk it on the outside? It looks like they're going to scout it up and maybe be in a position to send it afterwards, but if it centers on San Martin, well, it's anybody's guess where this game could go.
This is the one. A lot of teams committing northern side towards San Martin. I guess there's a large chunk of the circle over there.
That road, obviously the road that's cutting it. Oh,
here we go.
Down.
This is it. How many times do we see teams gamble stack it on that southern side because that hillside seems so prevalent?
Are DA going to crash Northern Lights here?
I don't know how they're going to make it, and otherwise unless they're going to a really wide swing, which we know they're happy to do it. They'll happily take longer rotations, but I'm curious to see how they mentally approach this. Are they more willing to fight now? Are they going to be more aggressive? We saw that day where they popped off, so that could be a big one. We do see a little bit of a pull up, and actually Unity again, the scrappers out here, finding another flush. Jazza gets himself in the kill feed for now. I don't see a flush following that yet. Obviously a Car 98, a little bit trickier to do so, so maybe just picking up someone from afar, but for now we do see a lot of the teams now getting very close by.
Yeah, ELGIGANTEN in the picture-in-picture. Getting shot at here by last crew from up on the hill. They will manage to get KnorkiS down. So that should be able to crawl away from that one. I don't think MOORPHEUS is going to get an angle as he flanks around there. Jazza finds himself one of those Carnet T8 shots. Spyro will get mert though. He's no way he's getting out of that one. So DA lose one on their rotate. Looks like they tried to wrap around the power grid. I think they were maybe trying to flex and test that the northern compound build, but it just didn't work out for them. Moon and Tab will back away. They got one knock on Jap, but I don't think they're going to flush it out.
It's a tricky revive if they did decide to stick around longer, but they do not. ENCE, team that now does have to find their way, and they're out towards the kind of outskirts of Hacienda, so they've got the graveyard to deal with. They've got a lot of a rough route ahead of them. 7 as well. Not far off in this 2-2. We have another couple of players just up towards the tip top there of that overlook area, but for now, Buster and Sadovnik playing the low ground, trying to ensure that they still can keep this compound if required. But the Jokers, they did make it out of that scuffle they had earlier. They have readjusted towards at least some sort of step in towards this.
Yeah, they're just going to peek across. You see Jeffrey's got himself revived up. Now, ENCE taking a fight here. Inside game and moving away from them, so that gives them an opportunity to just move down the hillside in towards Graveyard. But still, when you're on the outside of this big ridge line, you're kind of in a hard position. It's going to be a crate for Unity. They did lose one right at the beginning. Looks like Recrent and Co are on that hillside spot as well. So inside have found themselves the shacks. Safe for now. Don't know whether the vehicles will be able to stay safe. That tire's looking prominent up in the air.
Yeah, I don't see it going too well. 16 teams still stand though. We have had a lot of fights earlier than normal, down to 57 players. Not unheard of, but it's normally because of real hard shifts. This is quite a central circle that hasn't been too much of a hard shift. It did move away from the north here, kind of moving south of San Martin, and I'd imagine it will move south of San Martin if you're looking at chance. So. But we have had endings that end on it, so let's kind of now take this into account. Let's talk about what this means. San Martin, last time we saw this, it went down towards the western side of San Martin, that little slice that's just below the hillside.
The two positions which look good was PG-18. They're on that hillside compound. You can see them here. Hillside compound, and that's looking down. Unity are actually leaving this and going into San Martin. That surprises me.
It doesn't surprise me too much considering the circle's position. I feel like it's more than likely going to go to the city at this point. And I mean, if you're looking at just where the area of the circle is, you've got to feel like if you've committed into the city, you're going to be in the same situation as all the other teams. Oh, that's a risky push.
Jokers, they've just screwed themselves. They're fighting. There's no way down the hill for them now. They've just been absolutely cock-blocked. But completely cut out. There's no way they can do anything about that, because now with Trainhard down below them, they can't come down that hill. Everybody's just going to see them. They've just lit them up as they drove in, and they are now a target. So I don't really see any way out for them. They may be able to get down to this building on the edge here. Who knows? 7 looks like they're going to try and ramp it round. GamerLegion, I can see 2 on a bike there as well.
Yeah. Oh, 7. This is dangerous. You're getting some shots here. That's Maccandark all pulling up on this one. If they get the connection right, it could work out well. And old Wookie Bookie trying to join in on the action. Doesn't get it done, but Buster's looking worse for wear as he's trying to get into this. This is scary times.
They're right in the open to the Jokers now. Yeah, Buster's actually got off the back of it. He had no faith in Edelweiss's driving. He's like, nope, nope, nope. Not doing this.
ENCE, where have they gone for? They're still outskirts of Hacienda. They kind of pulled through that one. And it's actually GamerLegion really struggling here. I think they'd already lost down 1, if I wasn't mistaken, and this is a second flush for them.
Yeah, judging by the kill feed. So 7, we saw them starting to turn around there, and obviously we'd seen GamerLegion sending it. They obviously turned around into one another as Airstation Mike trying to pressure PG-18 on the hill, but they're getting it's ENCE, it's squeaky, isn't it?
Yep.
From down low, they've just rotated into this edge position at Hacienda, and it's caused a big problem for Airstation Mike. In turn, are trying to return the favor as the nades find Hugstar.
Yeah, Hugstar's gone down. They were taking a fight on another team as well. Not only did they have the pressure on Squeaky and PG-18, there was others joining in, so they've just not been able to kind of find that clean fight that they really needed. And bjorN's finding a couple himself. But yeah, look at PG-18's positioning here. This is primed, and that is going to be a good nade. Jazza does get away with his life. It didn't go quite far enough. The PG-18 going to keep these boys locked to the lower side of this hill.
Jazza's trying to get the res on Hugstar. They're both sat in the shack. This is prime territory for nades, but you can see looks like they've run out now, PG-18. Meanwhile, back in the kill feed, you can see Tempus putting pate to the first team to go down. Inside Games will be the first one down in the first match. Still 19 more matches to follow on this one, so a lot of time for all these teams to gain the points.
Yeah, it's still a long road here. 7 going to lose out on Grab It. These are mostly the teams who are left on the extremities of the circle, who've had to try and find a less than ideal way forward. Maybe just not expecting it to go to San Martin, but so many of the teams committing now. Edelweiss knocked as well. 7 bleeding by the wayside. They're hemorrhaging players, and
Yeah,
I don't know where the last 2 are. I think they're just further across the road,
Yeah,
maybe
in the ditch.
Yeah, they don't have much.
They got Jokers above them.
Yeah.
I think it's Northern Lights are off to the side at the edge of San Martin. Tornado Energy also on the edge of San Martin. The circle centers on San Martin again. The hills position between Airstation Mike and PG-18 could be vital, but it's looking like the circle will be finishing in the city now. Or town. I'm not sure what we class San Martin as a city. It's not on the Los Leones side, but it's still pretty big.
It's not bad. bjorN keeping Northern Lights under pressure behind those smokes and the vehicles and the cars and everything that's getting blown up in front of them. ENCE need to make the move forward now, leaving Hacienda. Gonna have to take the kind of hillside that leads in. And actually, it's not too much of a problem for now. They can find a northeastern compound that is available. The one thing I want to look at as well is the southern side of this circle is actually not very occupied. It's not an ideal position because you are feeling we missed so much. The Jokers just went down. Northern Lights are going to lose out on players as well. 7 going to make their last ditch attempt to get into the city, which they have actually managed to complete here.
Well, Northern Lights with the gatekeepers are now being kept. Is that
sure?
That's not right? GamerLegion coming in, they've done the damage to them, and the fact is that Tornado Energy are shooting them back. You can see Melman's managed to keep them down. Deep's the last man standing now. With bjorN down though, Maccandark's more focused on trying to get the IGL on his feet. And Maccandark, well, he just took a big slice there. Tornado Energy doing what they can. Everybody's run out of nades up on the hillside down in the southeast. Still PG-18. Okay, Recurrence on a bike. Is he thinking of going over the road? Are they going to start trying to work an angle into San Martin? Maybe give themselves an out? Couldn't tell.
Ooh,
because we
Maccandark.
cut away.
That's not good. And the circle's moving in. Spyro, not quite the dragon here, about to be tamed. Maccandark's there. That's Spyro gone down, and it was a valiant attempt. I guess you're trying to maybe get GamerLegion down, get those last couple of points. Sprays in, and it's GamerLegion going down in 14th. Big disappointment for them there.
That's a worry, isn't it? It's a worry. But it was a tough circle for them. Obviously, they were one of the South teams, so it is always going to be working the angles. Wookie Bookie and Tempus now have to work their way down the hill. It seems at the moment, if you're not in San Martin, you're in desperate trouble. We'll still see where this circle goes. They're banking on this northern swing and hoping that it goes there because they still have the hill line. And obviously, they're looking down on everything that's going on here. What a first game to have, Lauren, with this many teams all wedged in San Martin.
Look, as soon as you're out of the PEL, we get interesting circles. That's how it works. Northern Lights holding on for dear life, trying to get the heels off, knowing that maybe if they move forward, there could be trouble their way. We'll see how long they can survive doing this. ENCE left in a bit of a ditch here, not ideal at all. Up against Airstation Mike, kind of battling across the road, and there goes. Northern Lights, we're down to 12 teams, 42 players. A lot of these teams suffering casualty, and it is going to center up. Now, this is a problem. If you look towards the west of that larger compound, the kind of barn-looking compound on the southern side of the road, it's completely open. There's not much to be played there. There's a couple of caravans and a very big open area.
It's great for Tempus on that hill line.
Correct.
They've got the overlook on everyone that's trying to squeeze in. ENCE in the north, they're trying to run over the road. Last Crew trying to creep building to building. It's starting to get congested. You can see 7 and DA sharing the building. Quickmouth right next door. Anybody that has utils right now are in a really strong position. If they can start tossing the nades, they're going to catch some big names.
Nice to have an AUG at this point. Let's see if that can do some damage. BeautflDeath posted up here. Sadovnik's nade, though, could do wonders.
Did they even realize that DA are
It doesn't
up here?
feel like they do, which is worrying.
I mean, they're moving about. Mitraleius is not exactly being silent. They're charging
Oh,
about.
there we go. Buster's nade in it. Here we go. SIXMO scurries away. Mitraleius gets damage. If they're going to try and do something, this is a horrible stalemate, hoping the other team maybe helps them out. Gets a nade in. Molotov from Buster could be big. Let's see if it sets the floor on fire and BeautflDeath. Surely time to go.
You stand still, I'll take your ankle.
He's made a mess of that one. But do remember, a team like NIP did win from the city in this scenario. This was one of the other endings that we saw them thrive in. So you want to keep 4 alive. You want to find that bigger compound. You want to get those complementary positions. And that Buster fight going back and forth. A BeautflDeath did go down to a nade, if I'm not mistaken. And now ENCE trying to work their way forward. But they are fighting against pre-established positions. Never going to be easy.
Yeah, ENCE trying to push in from the north onto ELGIGANTEN. Struggling against them, trying to work their way in.
Good utility, at least.
They've got the smoke down, but the Polish boys are not letting them through at the moment. The Finns, the Phase 1 champions. Can you believe they're in this position? Rustanmar goes down, and nade finds TRYFFELI. They're down to 2. miikaz gets picked off the side. SKUIJKE, the last man standing. He will get 1 down, but he's got nothing left, it seems, as he crawls in. He's being chased down, and ENCE will go down in 11th place.
We've just lost 2 of our PEL teams who've gone down to this scenario prior to being top 10. This is a big upset here.
Unity managed to try and benefit from that. They got the 1 down. Airstation Mike have once again repositioned. It's straight in behind PG18. Now you can see PG18, they've kind of made this little move down the hill slightly. Here comes Last Crew. They're the next team to try and work their way into this position. Just a couple of shacks to play with. Mitraleius down at the moment. DA, I think down to 1 at the moment. Yeah, PEL.
Is he not being revived? That's a weird... I think it's just a lot of the dead bodies there. This angle does not help me. But he's one of the players you want standing. He was a huge influence for DA throughout the previous
Towards the
season.
end of the season,
he was a massive player. He was their new Iroh coming in with that real kick.
That circle.
And there's the circle. This is the problem, right? It's like you banked on the city all the way through, and now there's so little in it. Who's in it in the northern side?
Tempus of this is the Danes. Wookie Bookie and go up on that north. They can collect so many points from this just single game. You remember Wookie Bookie was in the team that got the most points. TSM, 21 kills. The very first game of Phase 1 was a monster. I don't think they're going to meet quite that standard, but it's about to become a grinder in the city. DA, look at that little 2-story. That is where everybody's trying to get to right now.
Yeah, and they do have Mitraleius back on his feet, so it's time for him to frag out. He needs to be the big player for them. BeautflDeath probably 3'd up if he's got that gun beside him, but we see the fight in the furthest northern side about to come through. Nice little pickup there, swinging straight out. This has to be just brawl time. You've got to be on your toes, fighting everyone in your way. 5 smokes is certainly going to help if you need to cross that road later down the line, but you've got 2, 3, 4 teams in your way first.
He's left it too late to go left side of that building now, so they're going to start smoking it and trying to push in. Giganten, you see the stop nades coming in on them in the second. They try and move out of that side. Phantom gets spotted. Melman, Tornado Energy working in. That's a good angle for Melman. Now he can pick up a lot of points from this position on the side. Now I think he's just about inside the circle. That nade looked like it was perfect. He banked, it was. It catches him down. Compot does the work. Giganten will flush out the rest of Last Crew, and Jappy's the last man standing.
ghostar just got a huge adjustment on that second kill, but he couldn't make much more of it. Works his way forward. I think he's out of luck, out of bullets. Didn't have time on the reload. There goes Last Crew. That's 10th position taken. ELGIGANTEN still trying to work their way forward, but fighting with, I think, just 1 player here. I don't see anyone else beside him, but here comes another breach. This is them pushing in towards the compound. Already, again, got dug in positioning here. Don't like the stack up on the stairs. Oof. Lovely angle, though, from Quick Math, putting together all the pieces, and that is an error and a half. So few options, couldn't fall back. Didn't feel like he maybe had the time to do it, but whatever his options were, that was not the answer.
Yeah, it's a grinder in the city. I mean, we can only follow what's going on so much here. Airstation Mike just got a bit of damage to them. They tried to put the work onto Tempus. Meanwhile, Phantom comes around the backside. The last man's causing a lot of problems for Quick Math here.
Oh, God.
Sensor goes down. The blue will finish him off. He's going to go down, so Train Hard go out in 8th place. Airstation Mike, I think they're down to 1 at the moment. Tempus are looking to take a lot of names here. PG18, the next on the target, 7 kills and counting.
And if you're Tempus, you need to go into point-making mode, in my mind. You have the primest of positions. Bank up some points here. Make a statement in that first game. PG18 have gone down in the meantime. ToWzErA is on the kind of slow play here himself. I don't know if he's got much left in the form of meds. Unity down to 2 standing. Oof. Orange is knocked.
You hear that little dang. It's Wookie Bookie from up the top there with that Car 98. You just see him duck down.
Ooh,
Tornado
ToWzErA
Energy doing what they can. That's from behind. And quickly Wookie Bookie has to flank around. Hanny's going in. Now this is going to open everything up for people inside San Martin, because they've just had to pull away from that ridge line. Hugstar will get taken down. Hanny's going to come around the side, sees ToWzErA. ToWzErA down to nothing, and he goes down. Airstation Mike flushed out, but they can get Hjort back on his feet. Now what's going on in San Martin?
Yeah, we are looking at the 4 teams remaining. Unity, DA.
They got to come down. They got to get down. That's what's happening.
Already a nice move there from Clip.
Yeah.
Going to be getting instantly into the circle, claiming that long barn that's still in play. Obviously not paramount ground, but look at the other side of things. That's a huge, scary area. Tornado Energy still a Wookie?
Well, okay.
What? I get it, but oh man, no covering fire, no supporting fire. They didn't have those positions gathered yet.
It didn't seem
Oh,
like...
no. What is this?
Did not seem like they were in a desperate problem, but they have managed to find themselves the smallest of rocks. But they're kind of a turkey shoot right now for everyone, looking up at them.
Like, I get it. I know this is... They had few other options, but you kind of wanted maybe one of the players to be able to put down some fire while they maybe send Wookie Bookie in, but it felt mismanaged, badly timed.
Oh, no.
And now they have
Both
one
gone
player
in. Both gone in the blue, yeah. Clip's the last man standing. And the whole time, I tell you what, Tornado Energy, they're now looking in prime position. The center is close to Mitraleius and Co at DA. Unity are already moving. Oh my God, look at all those smokes.
It's time to go. This is nice from them. I like them being productive because you've got DA kind of focusing on the other side of things. This should give room for Tornado Energy to make a move. Big boy nade comes out. Snoopy's still fine, though.
This is good for DA because they're fighting each other either side of them at the moment. So DA is staying in the building because it's close to center. Looks like they're going to hop out the back. Unity and Tornado both looking to cross the road to try and get those off-angle positions.
UT have got 2 players over already. This isn't bad at all. I'm looking at that real center point here as best I can. Unity's pretty close, and they have a little bit of cover to play with, but it depends on who DA focuses on. Compot there gets a spot towards the Unity players across the way, but Mitraleius makes his appearance, though.
Wow.
Sprays in, got so much damage, but couldn't get the kill, the knock.
Oh,
the underhand molly! That's ingenious. That surely should spread far enough.
He's nearly caught himself as well in the process.
How is that not spread that far? That is devastating.
Yeah, that's just forced him away, but you can see Example's got the flank position. He sees the head of a Beautiful Death. Where's that nade going from Beautiful Death? He's going straight towards the man they just knocked down. That's going to work out for them. So 1 down, Compot on nothing as well. The blue continues to shrink in. That little truck that Clib's at almost, that's almost the center spot. So that's a great position for Tempest. And look at that, he's got a little wall all around him.
Yeah, that's a really nice position for him to stay alive in. A Beautiful Death and Mitraleius combined towards Snoopy, and he goes down. Tornado Energy are across the road, though, and this is where it gets harder work for DA. Mitraleius has to deliver now. This guy has been a beast throughout PEL, but now is the time, and there's Clib. Finally makes his appearance. Quizzy's got to know there's someone nearby. Going to get the flush and look for more. Knows Melman's close by. Orange, attention towards Beautiful Death. The blue is on their back. Clib! Big denial on Quizzy. He had no idea, and again, the snake prevails.
10 kills and counting for Tempest. It has worked out for them no matter how you look at this one. Melman gets a look around the side, gets a big slice of orange snow, but can't finish him off for whatever reason. Clip's still there. He can't come around the other side. Melman realizes the blue buffers him. Mitraleius and Beautiful Death go down. That's going to be the end of DA in 4th place. And now it is all about the snakes.
Orange is 3'd up, though. Clip now left in the 1v1. Going to be looking for it, and he gets it! Huge work from Tempest. I thought they lost it on that kind of dismount from the hill, but who am I to judge? And they pulled it back in just in time.
The Big Danes prevail in the first game of the day. They had the hillside compound. They could look down on San Martin. They didn't commit, and everybody that went into the city, it was a grinding battle. People falling left and right. I think I saw 6 or 7 kills on Mailman there as well, or maybe Orange. I didn't see which one it was. Some big kills from him. You can see Mitraleius and DA. They're not too happy with how that worked. They thought they had a better position. It looked like they kind of were making it work for them. But I think just the fact that Clip basically put pay to everyone.
Yeah, that was huge. Huge work. I mean, if your whole team goes down on that rotation route, you've got to hope that the last man who made it in delivers, or the first man who made it in delivers. And he certainly did. Well, beyond that, though, this is going to be a bit of a brutal one, considering a lot of those PEL teams who came into this feeling this might be easy have just had a rude awakening. We lost out on 2 prior to that top 10 position.
Well, I can see Palsy in place. Let's go down to Tempest.
First of all, my goodness. I came over just at the end of the game, and you guys were literally, your hearts looked like they were banging through your chest. How nervous was that?
Yeah, and I wasn't even playing, so that makes it even worse, man. Oh, Jesus. Well, he killed them all. That was great. That was great.
He was great. Let me just catch up with him as well. Mate, honestly, that was so good at the end. Were you worried, though? Because like when I heard Lauren and D-Man, they were commentating, and it felt like it was getting away from you a little bit.
Kind of. Like, my smokes were fading, and I just thought, I have to get to the center of circle now, and I knew I could prone here, like a really good corner, and I just waited for people to fight, and I got kind of lucky with the timing with the guy behind the container, and just took 2 1s once and won.
got to take the luck when it comes.
Yeah, definitely. It's PUBG after all.
But also, you guys had such a great position, didn't you, early on? Every time the circle got smoked, you were like, this is perfect for us. Was there an element there you were like, we can't lose this?
I mean, when we got the top position on San Martin Hill, we had no idea why it would be free. Like, it was such a good position, and we just took it and kept on playing from there. It was so nice.
Maximum points, well done.
Thank you.
All right, let's head back to our analyst panel and find out what they made of that.
Tempest putting on a good show there. I was busy listening to Kib saying that it was lucky because I wrote in the beginning, I was like, we need to watch Tempest. Then right at the end there, I was like, oh, what did they do? Like, they've messed this all up. And then goes on to win it. What did you think of that performance?
I mean, it was far from lucky. You could see how they would rotate and how they would take it to the south side. We're discussing a lot about it behind the scenes here, where to actually go. And we saw a lot of teams actually diving into San Martin pretty early. Now, it did pay off for some of them, but at the same time, Tempest play was really great. They had good rotations. The only thing was they kind of messed up when they were needed to go downhill there.
It was also unfortunate for them though, because I think that they were thinking that ASM was not going to push behind them and take down. So when Airstation Mike took down Yort, it was like, oh, they have to go clear this. So that time that lost there was when all the other teams, they kind of got into a position where they knew, okay, there's someone on the south side, we have to focus them, and everybody was already safe there, so all the focus went on Tempest because of that.
Yeah.
But them losing 3 people and then Clip managing to clutch that up, that was really nice.
That was
22 points as well. It's going to be big for them. It's a nice snowball start for them.
I mean, this is something you really want. You want to win the first game. It's so important, not just for points, but for the mentality in the team. And actually being able to clutch something like that, Clip, really good job. That's going to bring up the morality in the team so much.
A lot of confidence is obviously going to come from that, but also I think Wookie, maybe his experience helping them out a little bit there as well, making sure that Kib can keep a cool head at the end.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, not just the experience of playing here, but also playing against the contenders teams. He now knows about them as well, and knowing how they want to play their game. He knows a lot about the circle, trying to predict it and so on as well.
One thing I'm happy for Wookie though is he's picking up the snipers and he's committing to the candidate. I like that. I was actually hoping to see him do that because he's probably one of the best snipers in the game. Unity though as well, managing to take this with 9 kills overall and get a second place, that's massive for them as well.
I was surprised with Unity because I wasn't sure if they were going to come out the gate fighting, but very aggressive play from them, impressive. The teams that I'm maybe a little bit concerned about are our PEL teams who have made their way down here. Not a good showing from ENCE, GamerLegion, all of them getting knocked out quite early on in the competition.
I mean, yeah, we see here ENCE, they got themselves 0 points, GamerLegion got 1 point. The thing with ENCE was they had a good start, they had good rotations in the start, then they decided to go north for some reason. They should have gone straight in towards the circle when they were on the east side instead of going north side where it was super compact.
And also we see here PG18 only 1 point. They had a pretty good spot, but they actually let Airstation Mine come in behind them, and they put on so much pressure on them that they actually just lost out. PG18, potentially PG18 could have had a kind of a winning spot if they managed to keep all 4 alive, but there's just so much pressure on them. This is the story though, guys. Tempest 22 points, Unity 15 as well, and Digital Analytics with 11.
DA being able to actually put that up it's not bad. It's pretty impressive, I'd say, compared to how they were playing. They were really slow in the start, playing a lot of edge, but then they decided to go jump into the town, and they knew from playing in PEL, they saw a finish there before, similar to when we had NIP winning the game. They knew that they wanted to stay close to the road and take that house, and also being able to prevail against 7 there was the key for them.
One thing which I noticed as well was the meta is very Sunday heavy. We see a few teams, like less teams that we usually see, especially in PL, that are playing edge. DA is one of them, and I think especially if this center-heavy meta is going to continue throughout these days, I think it's going to continue to pay off for them, because especially the rotations in the third and the second and the third circle pays off massively for them.
But also how aggressive teams were straight up from the start. This is something that PL teams is not that used to, and that might be something they need to adapt to super quick. If not, it's going to be hard for them because they're trying to do the long rotations, trying to do the rotations into the circle, getting to a good spot. But what they need to do is take the fights with the teams.
I'm curious though, you mentioned there where you said that they're not really used to that aggression right at the start, but it almost seemed less aggressive and more scrappy. Like it kind of felt like no one was really sure what was happening. You saw lots of ping-ponging in and out of the city as well. Do you think that maybe that experience for the PEL teams of understanding to just play our own game, not let all these other teams shake us up, will help? Or do you think the teams generally will settle in the next few maps?
Honestly, I think it's going to continue like this. We're going to see the continuation of a very center-heavy meta. And I think that's going to continue. And mid-game, I think we're going to see a lot of kind of indecisiveness. We're going to see some teams try to be too greedy. We saw already a few teams trying to be a bit too greedy, and I don't think it's going to pay off. I like to see the teams that are playing center-heavy, but if you manage to play edge, first 2 circles, and then make really good rotations in the second and third circle, like DA did, I think you're definitely going to come out on top.
Something to take into account is also how the teams are actually playing it. Even if you played online, one playstyle, you're probably not playing the same playstyle here. You can't do that either because it's so different. People change things up. If you don't change it as well, you're going to be the one in the bottom.
Do you need to be that early aggression that we saw? Is that what you have to do when you have so little games to play, or is it a very dangerous road to travel?
For me, honestly, I like to see the aggression, but like you don't want to overcommit. Yes, we saw Airstation Mike commit to a compound, get a flush, but you have to show that kind of presence. But I don't want to see teams like fighting for spots in the first phase. If they do that in the second, third, fair enough. But if they like try to fight for some center spots in the first phase, they're going to be thrown off because we did see a lot of circles, especially in the last phases or last games of last weeks of PEL. We saw a lot of ping pong with the circles. They're kind of all over the place. So if you continue to play center heavy and you try to fight for that, I'm not sure it's going to pay off.
I mean, at the same time, it could be viable if you actually go for a really good spot where you can get a lot of kills early, because that's super important. If you can get the kills early, you get the points early, then you're safe with that game. Then it doesn't really matter. Now, what you could do is keep on getting even more points from that point on, and that would be really good.
Do you think that ENCE, GamerLegion, leaving there now, of course, we've chatted a bit about the mental game that we're going to be seeing. Contenders teams excited, Tempest wins, that's amazing. But for these teams that have come from PEL, when they walk out of there and they're not finishing in the top 10, the stress has got to be building up. What's the conversation that now has to happen before they move back into the arena?
For me, I don't think it's after every game. Like it's when day 1 is done, and if they're outside the top 10, let's say, they're bottom 6, that's where the conversation has happened. You don't want to start like criticizing, or you don't want to give constructive criticisms on your team names between the games. That's up to the coach, and it should be done after the games. Obviously, for them, I want to see them continue at a high hope, like high morale, good chemistry. I want to see that throughout the whole day. And then you go home, you work for everything, then you go into the games tomorrow. So keep focused between every game.
It's just the first game. It's not end of the road here. But at the same time, having a good start will help you, of course.
Of course.
But I feel like, as you're saying, Martin, first day, that's the most important thing. You want to feel out the teams. You want to know what they are doing on each map. You don't really know that right now. After the first day, you get a little bit of a taste of what they're going to be doing, and that's when you can start adapting to that.
So lots more scrappy San Martin fights, maybe. We don't know, but that's probably what the first day is going to look like. We've chatted a lot about digital athletics, and we're going to find out a little bit more when we return. We'll also be moving into map number 2.